refuse to?
not say all that.
What if I refuse to use somebody's pronouns? Like, should I be like get in trouble and like?
I mean, I think it's insensitive.
Sure.
Again, I think that.
But
it's,
okay. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I have a lot of transgender friends, and I've repeatedly been told if someone slips up and they use the wrong pronouns, but it was in good faith, they are not trying to be rude. I don't believe that that's transphobic. I believe if you are going after someone specifically because of how they identify, that absolutely is transphobic. Yeah. It's racist to go after someone who's a specific race. Like,
yeah, but it's not about going after somebody. It would just be like, this is why can't we have a
All right, I'm going to kind of blow a hole in this whole situation. A phobia is an irrational fear. If you do not fear the thing in which they are referring to, you are not the thing they are referring to. It's that simple. If you're not afraid of trans people, you are not transphobic. If you're afraid of spiders, you have arachnophobia. You see where I'm going with that? I am not afraid of trannies. Not at all. I'm not afraid of trannies on the internet. I'm not afraid of the tranny in my car. You know, because transmissions. See what I did there? Ha ha ha. Anyway, yeah. People really misuse the term phobia in order to bolster something that isn't there.
Conversation about truth. Like, what is the actual
but
truth
that's their
of the
truth,
matter?
you know? Like, it's their perspective.
Well, hold on. There is the truth. I don't believe in your truth, my truth.
Well, it's just you're just talking about the paradox of tolerance now anyway, right? So when you say it's my truth and your truth, it's like, okay, well, my truth is not be tolerant. And your truth is that I should be tolerant. So then you say, well,
my truth
the
is
only
that
thing
you
that
can
shouldn't
have
be
your
tolerated
opinion.
is intolerance, right? Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, should there be social repercussions if, like, somebody who doesn't...
Actually, I do have something to say regarding that. He basically was pointing out something that was a big issue back in the day, because it's like you hear someone says something, right? Super calm, they state their opinion, and not even really offensive. And then someone's just like, you're a bigot. I'm like, but you just like got really aggressive and angry and called me a bigot, telling me I'm intolerant. Well, you're intolerant of my quote, intolerance. So what the fuck? So we're at a stalemate. Fuck off. I don't care.
I believe that a male can become a female and is like, well, when it comes to pronouns, I attribute that to sex, not gender, because I don't buy into the gender framework. So this person, to me, is a male, ergo, he's a he, him.
Sure, I think that that's really unfortunate. Do I think
what do you mean? When you say it's unfortunate, what do you mean? That they believe that?
I think it's unfortunate that they're not willing to accept people for who they want to be.
But what's to prevent somebody from saying, like, oh, I think it's unfortunate that you won't actually, like, you don't believe in truth?
I think it's fair enough
objective truth.
I think it's fair enough to think something and have an opinion, but I think sometimes...
That's not what we're debating, though.
So are you saying that there should be, like... Sorry.
It's okay.
Are you saying there should be, like, physical repercussions? Like
what do you mean?
What are you saying? Can you rephrase the question?
Well, so, I mean, I was asking, you said it was transphobic, you object to transphobia, then should there be, like, social repercussions? Like, for example, in the school setting, let's say, like, a student is like, I don't believe in this, I'm not going to refer to this. I'm not going to use the pronouns. Should, like, the student, like, get detention? Should there be, like, if they continue to refuse, should they be, like, kicked out of school? What do you think?
That the trans suicide rates in the public,
it's my choice.
It's fine, but
school system is mostly due to peer pressure and not being accepted, especially in, like, the Midwest.
Yeah, but we can talk about. We can
talk
talk about.
That's a really good argument for why you shouldn't be trans.
No, because that person is expressing their truth. They should be able to be
well, I mean,
how they want
I guess
to be.
You really probably shouldn't express your truth if your truth is so horrible for you that you want to unalive yourself, right? It doesn't sound like
no, it's not that they're unaliving themselves because they're trans. It's because they feel like they can't be accepted.
Yeah, but can I answer?
Yeah, no. This is the thing. You know, this is the thing about America and this whole freedom of speech and the freedom of association, which isn't really. Anyway, the point is, I can say what I want. You can say what you want, right? The thing is, I don't have to like you. Like, I don't. I don't have to like you. You cannot force me to like you. And the same goes in any direction with anybody. You can't force anyone to like people. That's just how it is.
But here's the problem, right? It's like, yeah, they're not being accepted, so that seems like a really good showcase for why they shouldn't present themselves as trans. That seems like a really good showcase for that.
Yep.
So here's the thing: if it is the case unalive themselves at the same rate because they're not being accepted, then how come they weren't doing it before they could come out as trans in the 20s and 30s? How come?
Gotcha, bitch.
Sorry, rephrase.
Because when they kept that shit in the closet, somehow they didn't unalive themselves. So it seems like them presenting themselves as trans, thus
feel like
getting
this
ridiculed
isn't
from
very
their peers
productive.
because we don't believe the shit that they're saying, leads to their unalivement.
Can I get an answer? I'll get you in just a sec. Can I get an answer to my question though? Should there be like repercussions
in the school
settings?
systems?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if like 16-year-olds like I don't believe in this. These are like my personal values. I'm not going to insult this trans person. I'm not going to like bully them, but I just refuse to refer to them by their preferred pronouns. If it's a male and they're a trans woman, I'm not going to call them she, her.
I feel like it's hard for me to speak to. I've never been in that situation. I do know that I don't know.
It's a tough one.
It's a really tough one because I believe that everyone should have their own opinions, and I believe that you are totally allowed to have your own opinions.
Yeah.
Right.
I think your opinion is harmless if it's not hurting someone else. Meaning, like, if that person isn't going after that trans person, if that person is purposely avoiding them to not hurt their feelings or, something like that, I think that might be okay.
What if I purposely, walk around and just laugh at them? Like, ha ha ha,
yeah, that's fucked up.
You're not a chick, dude. What if I do that? Should something happen to me then?
You're a piece of shit. I don't think that something should happen to you, but I think that would make you a piece of shit, personally.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I get it. I get that you think it'd make me a piece of shit, but should something bad happen to me?
Yeah, there should be repercussions because
but what should happen? What should
This is tone police turned into laugh policing. That's retarded. No, not coddling the fucking irrelevant part of society. And when I mean irrelevant, I mean statistically irrelevant. We do not need to pave an extra road for them or do anything.
What should the repercussion be for me laughing at you for pretending to be like something you're not? What should the repercussion be?
I think that's up to the school system, the severity of the situation.
Do you think
I
that
think
there
that
should
this
be...
is really it's very generalized, and it's hard to speak on generalized.
Do you think there's...
All right, so if you're not obviously Barney, right? Barney the dinosaur, right? And you come to school dressed as Barney the dinosaur, which you are not actually Barney the dinosaur, and you get laughed at, should people be getting in trouble for that? I mean, because if you were born as a man and you come to school dressed like a woman, you are not a woman. Just like you are not Barney the dinosaur. Why can't we not laugh at you? Right?
There should be Andrew's not in school right now. Do you think there should be criminal penalties?
Criminal penalties?
Yeah, maybe you get a fine, $300 fine if you don't, $200 fine if you don't.
I feel like I can't speak to this because I'm not in that person's shoes. I don't have the right
Yeah,
to speak
but don't
to
worry about that. Let's say you were the dictator of the United States, and you could implement a rule, a fine that says, okay, on the first offense, you have to pay a $200 fine.
I would survey trans people to see how they feel.
Yeah, and let's say all trans people were in favor of the fine. Would you do it?
I would then. I mean, that's just not how that really. Works.
I
have
just
to go
granted
through so many people.
Well, okay, so let's but the hypothetical scenario. Let's say 90% trans people were like, yeah, we should definitely find people that refuse to use our preferred pronouns. Would you then pass a law that fined people for doing so?
Again, I believe that people are all entitled to their own opinions. That is something I believe. I also believe you should never be
just yes or no.
malicious towards anyone.
Yes, so yes or no.
I feel like I can't speak to this.
You're the dictator. You have total power to enact your worldview as it pertains to the law.
In this current moment, I do not have an answer for you. My apologies.
I mean, it kind of sounds like yes, you would.
No, I don't know. Don't put words in my mouth.
You know what? The fact that you won't say no, that's ridiculous. I'm not gonna control people's speech in that way. And the extension,
that's the thing that's stopping me is I believe everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So that is what stops.
Except if there's harm, and you're saying which you said.
Yes, unless you're hurting.
In your worldview, refusing to use somebody's preferred pronouns, is that causing harm?
Again, like I said, trans people have told me in the past, it just varies. It really
Yes,
varies on the
I'll grant.
situation.
I'm going to go ahead and grant, for the sake of this, that it does cause harm. Should there then be penalties?
What kind of harm?
You said you related to this.
Emotional. It hurts their feelings.
Well, let's use her example though. You referenced the unaliving rate is really high in the trans community.
Sure.
So yeah, that's the harm. They're unaliving themselves because people are refusing to acknowledge them as women.
I don't know if
So there's the
like,
harm.
you can monetize something like that.
Monetize.
Like you said, like a $300 fine. Like I don't know if I could say like
Wait, but hold on. So like, if you like commit various crimes, it's not monetization. It's like, okay, if you illegally park, there's typically going to be a fine. There could eventually be, your car could get towed. More serious crimes, there's fines, there's imprisonment. I mean, perhaps like if you've misgendered somebody like 3-4 times, would you consider like imprisoning people? If they continue, they're just
I
like,
think
fuck your
imprisonment is
fines,
very-
I'm going to continue.
very. I don't
Bit
know.
far.
That's a bit far. We're talking.
What if they...
She doesn't want to actually be looked at as a dictator, as she's supporting people dictating what you can and cannot say to a statistically irrelevant part of society that is basically claiming that they are something they're not. I find that crazy that we're not able to criticize or have an opinion on something. And she just won't stand on business. It's crazy. She won't say yes, she won't say no. Because if she says no, then it kind of doesn't matter at this point, you know? So if she says yes, then she's a dictator. It's like, okay, well, then what are you actually talking about? You're standing up for something and not standing up for something at the same time. It's like this weird fence-sitting virtue signal. It's kind of fucking retarded.
What if they misgender 100 times? They refuse to follow the law, and you find them, you've tried to find them a bunch. Should they eventually, not the first time, not the second, but eventually far enough down the road, if they refuse to like, yes, this is a woman, should they eventually go to prison?
Again, I feel like I can't speak to this. I
No,
think you
you're the
might have to
dictator.
start-
I know, right?
I did-
Okay, can you make someone else the dictator?
Can I answer?
Well, I'm exploring your worldview because you have a strong position
Can
on
I
this.
just ask you a really easy question that you can't speak to, that I think
Sure.
is a reasonable question to speak to?
Sure.
So let's say you have a trans friend, right? This is a M to F, male to female, right?
Sure.
And doesn't have a bottom surgery. You still consider this person to be a woman, right?
Yeah.
Right. What's that?
Yes.
Okay. So if their significant other, in this case, is also a male, right, and not trans, and says, "I'm going to go home and suck my girlfriend's dick," do you consider him to be straight?
Yeah, sure. However they want to identify. Again, I am okay with complying with people's opinions, and people are allowed to have their
I just want to
opinions.
get this right. I just want to get this right. Your friend says, "I'm going to go home and suck my girlfriend's dick," and you think that that person is straight, right?
And why is this a problem?
I just want
It's
to
not
make sure
does it
that
affect
it's
other
correct that
people?
that person is straight. Because as we all know,
I'm trying to
everyone
think.
always associates men sucking other men's penises with, being a heterosexual, as we all know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't decide that for that person. Are they identifying as straight, and are you asking me to
Sure.
argue against?
Yeah, they're identifying as straight.
Hell yeah, man. Be who you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Why
straight.
not?
I mean,
That's
straight
my
men
view.
always,
What's right,
always
what's
suck
wrong?
dick, right? That's what straight men are known for.
Did you had a question that you wanted to ask her?
It was about when you were talking about people in the closet. They don't self-delete themselves, so like why don't they stay in the closet?
Was I gone? I don't
know.
recall.
It was,
No,
it was in the
I
past.
I was posing that, not.
I forgot.
Oh,
Okay,
well,
that's
I
fine.
can just
But-
restate it.
Well, no. So what was your thing though? Just now you said, why does that matter?
Well, I mean, why?
Into the mic. Like why?
does it matter?
Because Andrew was asking about like, okay, so a guy says, I'm gonna go and S my girlfriend's penis, and you're like, well, why does that matter? And so I guess who are you guys to dictate to people who are heterosexual what is and what is not heterosexual in the way that you would probably just, at least in your worldview, justifiably find it offensive. Like, no, you actually aren't able to be homosexual. Like, if we denied that, like, what homosexuality was,
Yep.
you would, like, object to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, hold on. We're objecting to you dictating to us what heterosexuality is. And, like, you're trying to basically put on me, and if we bring this to its furthest enough conclusion, is like, okay, if I refuse to date a trans woman because she's trans, this is transphobic, and then some people want to enforce punishments, whether that's through the government or whether that's like through social shaming. If I don't want to date a trans woman, if I don't want to date a woman who has a penis, I should be now subject to attack in some capacity. Do you see how this is potentially dangerous?
Yep.
I missed that whole conversation.
Yeah,
I don't think
Yeah,
you having. I'm sorry, I went to the bathroom, but I don't think you having your stance personally on your preference in terms of like you wouldn't date a trans woman. I don't think that's transphobic.
Yeah, but there are people. I understand that that's not your position, but I'm being fairly. I mean, do you think if I don't want to date a trans woman because she's trans,
Well,
do you think that that's transphobic?
No,
No.
I mean,
Do you think that
just-
that's transphobic? Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
Everyone's allowed their own preference, aren't they?
pansexual.
Into the mics, guys. But there are people who do advocate for this, and ultimately, it's just interesting though. You're trying to dictate to us like what is straight and what isn't, and in aside from just like, okay, you guys doing a critique of heterosexuality, it's like, how about just a truth conversation? What is the truth? Okay, well, here, I'm going to let a couple chats come through. I know Andrew has some questions, but
What are
Chris donated $200. If you feel like you are a good singer, and you go to an American Idol audition and the professional judges says that you suck, then who is right? Your feelings or the professional judges?
Good question.
I think it's
yes,
an opinion.
that's a good point.
But still.
do you want to weigh in on this? I saw you scampering back, so.
I think that those people probably have a more professional view of music, and so they're professionally trained. I partake in music, and I think that if you're trained, absolutely you can say like that.
All right, so I don't know if you guys had the same training, and I'll use this, is that in school we were taught a certain thing about biology, right? Is that when a dad sticks his peen inside a woman's vagine and decides to cum dumpster, the baby comes out binary in the sense of it's either male or female, right? You don't have to be a scientist or a doctor to understand that. We were all trained to understand that as fact, objective fact. So where is your logic actually, like, how are you having trouble understanding this? You are literally adding way more unnecessary nuance to something that's so incredibly simplistic.
Person is
Yeah.
specifically off key.
A
or out of
professional
tone,
opinion.
You know, like I've been trained musically. I've been
Off
partnered
key.
with people who
Oh,
have
no.
not been. It's a skill. It's like riding a bike.
So you,
got
are you saying basically like when it comes to music, essentially, there are like actual things that you can point to, and like there's like a mathematical basis
Sure.
when it comes to music.
And
like
before
here,
we turn this, I am solely talking about music. Like if we're trying to turn this to any other subject, I'm just talking about music.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
No,
But like
the
I
parallel's
think when it
still
comes to
drawn.
the discussion that we were having, it's actually on an even more basic level.
Oh Lord,
Mhm.
I got
Then-
pee, sir.
Okay, that's fine. I'll continue speaking. It's on a more basic level than music. It's your biological sex. This is something that you cannot change. Okay. I mean,
Still pretty.
Well, this is actually pretty important fundamental questions
Yep.
because we're talking about dating.
wait, just one
Min-
one
no.
one quick sec. I'll have you come in right after this. I just gotta let these two come through.
Scott Bobble donated $200. Can we go around the table again? To get a definition of what a woman is, this was avoided by these people originally. Give an answer, don't dance around it.
Well, I do think that they they did give answers. I know you maybe weren't satisfied with said answers, but yeah. But Scott, thank you for the TTS, and then we have one more coming in from.
Dean Withers donated $199. Chair number 4, you are pursuing an obscenity
Oh,
and
that's
cannot have a
interesting.
consistent view. You are failing
I'll
your
have to pull it
future
back
women
up.
patients.
She's not at the table. My bad. I'll pull it back up though. Andrew, well, they're. I think they're in the bathroom debating whether they rage quit the show because this is a very.
Well, these are like I understand that these are controversial topics, right? But the thing is you got to think about dating in the modern marketplace. We can't even decide on what women are. Right? Like, can't even decide on what women are. The battle of the sexes when it comes to how you adjust for a partner or something like this, it seems like it's a pretty pertinent question in modernity.
Yep.
You know, to be like, well, I have dating preferences and things like this, you know, but if you just kind of signal that men can be women, right? I think that it would make a lot of men very uncomfortable that women hold that view. I think it would necessarily. So I think that these are pretty pertinent to the dating questions, and for some reason people get really offended by this, even though you guys had the most degenerate talk possible just 2 hours ago. It's the most degenerate shit talking about orgasms and this and that, but suddenly it's brought up whether or not, oh, can you go suck your girlfriend's dick? Is that straight? And suddenly it's like, oh, how could he say such a thing? It's like, where's the consistency here? You talk about every degenerate thing on planet Earth, but when we get to the meat, the brass tacks of what even it is we're talking about, suddenly people get offended. I think it's silly. Why not have the combo?
Yeah.
But I have a ton of great questions here. If you guys want to move the topics, I'm fine with it.
Well, I want to stick on it for a little bit, but I'm pretty much almost done. But the two kind of dissenters, the primary dissenters, are gone. Although Alex, you were a dissenter on this, and then also.
I was a dissenter?
Well, you think that a man dating a transgender, you think it's straight for a man to date a transgender woman.
No.
Yeah, so I guess I'll engage with you while those other two are gone. So if you see two males nude engaging in intercourse, and you don't know their gender identity, would you categorize the sex act as homosexual?
Two males? Well, who am I to tell them who's a male and who's a female?
They both have penises.
Who are you to tell people who murderers are? Who are you to say what a murderer is?
Right.
Who are you? In fact, who the fuck are you to say anything? I guess you don't hold positions on anything.
Yes.
Like, who are you to tell me what your name
No,
is?
I'm just not really like a judgmental person.
into the
Sorry, I would say I'm just not a judgmental person. I'm very
Yeah.
Is that a
open-minded.
judgment?
It's
Is
not
that
it's not a
you just
judgment.
made?
It isn't.
Did you just make a judgment about how not judgmental you are? It's pretty judgy of you.
Yep. This is the interesting thing, because a lot of people will say, you know, hey, you shouldn't be so judgmental. It's like, hold on. When I decided to choose the food I was eating, I judged all the food against the food I'm eating, right? And I judged. I swung the gavel. I judged. And I chose what to eat. Just like I'm judgmental on what music I listen to. Everyone is judgmental about everything in some way or another. So this whole notion of not being judgmental, it's not even, it's nothing. It's literally nothing. Everyone is judgmental.
Okay, so
Checkmate? Like, I'm confused.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, so I'll ask the question again. You see two males who are nude engaging in intercourse. You don't know their gender identity. Would you categorize the sex act as homosexual?
Sure, if I don't know any context.
Yeah, you don't know their gender identity.
That's all the context you need.
But if somebody...
So, but
Between
wait,
those-
hold on.
Why do I always get cut
Just
off?
hold on,
and
just
that's
hold
okay
on,
when
because
you
I'm
cut
adding
me
some
off?
hold
Okay.
on. Host here, host privileges.
Yep.
So, not knowing the context, you would categorize it in that way, correct?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And so, if during that act that you had initially categorized as homosexual, if one of them shouted out and said, "Yo, Alex, BTW, I identify as a woman, would you then instantly change the categorization to heterosexual?
For me personally, yes.
But
Interesting.